Bird here from alittlepeaceofmind.co.uk. Today we are on the letter G, and G is greater than you. So what do I mean by this? Well, a couple of things. Firstly, we talked yesterday, in yesterday's video, F for feelings. We talked about the fact that in a moment of clear and present danger, something other than our tiny little minds and their best efforts makes itself very obviously known, right? The parents who pull their kids from the burning car, the people who respond in a way they never thought possible when they are mugged, right? Or, even when we're driving down the street and someone suddenly pulls out, there's something very clear that helps us move the car one way or another, right? We've all got examples of it. Now, that knowledge, that wisdom, that common sense, that responsive something in the moment, like I want to be relying on that thing right now, not whatever my tiny mind can come up with, because what my mind does is it creates memories of what happened in the past, and then it creates ideas of what's going to happen in the future, and then it takes these ideas and tries to apply them to those ideas, and before I know it, my head's going like this, and no wonder I can't think straight, and I don't know which way to turn, and I don't know what the best decision is about anything, right? Like my intellect is incredibly helpful for a lot of things, right? It's really useful if I want to know which button to press so that the video starts recording. If I want to know how to upload this video onto YouTube, it's really helpful for that. But the problem is that we try and use this for things it's not designed for. So we might try and use this to decide, well, what will happen next week if blah, 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 right? This, useless for that, right? It's not built for that. It might use this to go, well, what do I need to take care of today so that I can make sure that everything's okay tomorrow, given that yesterday, blah, 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 right? It's not designed for that. There is something greater than you. There's something beyond the intellect. There's something beyond our tiny minds, our little pea brains, that has this one in the bag. That if we stop churning and leaning into thought, reveals itself to us. Now, I didn't know, for my whole life, I did not know there was anywhere to go other than up into here. So I was constantly scheming and figuring out and thinking about things and planning things and worrying about stuff and thinking that this was helpful, right? Churning, churning, churning. And it was only when I bumped into this conversation, when I started to work with my first mentor, Michael Neal, when I started to read the words of Sydney Banks, when I started to explore the understanding that's behind all the work that I do, that suddenly my eyes were opened. It was like a door was opened to another room. And it was like, holy shit, why did nobody tell me this was here? It's the difference between being online and going through my hard drive the whole time and then realizing there was, what do you mean there's Google? Right? A responsive, live, in the moment, like infinite bank of infinite intelligence that is available to us at all times, in any moment, that lives our life, that has our back and shows us what to do in any moment. The thing that lets you know how to pull a child from a burning building, right, or under a trapped car, or the thing that lets you know, like it's just the thing that lets you know what to do in any circumstance, in any situation. It's the thing that's always taken care of you in any circumstance and any situation. But I had no awareness of this. I had no understanding of it. But as soon as someone opened the door and showed me, I was like, I want to rely on that in these times, right? I want to rely on that all the time. And so there's a feeling, as we talked about yesterday, there's a feeling to going into the hard drive on the computer and filing through and trying to find my best answers all the time. You can imagine that feeling, right? It's tight, it's constricted, it's limited. By its very nature, it's so limited because all it's got to go on is memory files, right? This, opening the door, putting this down, closing the laptop, opening up, realizing there's something else. This is where those ideas in the shower come from. This is where the out of the blue creative solutions come from. This is where the totally obvious, really clear, peaceful solutions come from. And they're right there for the taking the minute we close the laptop. So there's something, it's indescribable, right? But there's something you can get a feel for that's greater than you, that has everything you need. And it will let you know when to pick this thing up and tap into it for some information. And it will let you know when to put that down. Like, it lets you know because your feeling starts to ramp up. Time to close the laptop. Get back online. And you can rely on that. Now, the other thing about greater than you that I just want to mention as well is that, I don't know about you, but over the last few days, more than ever at the moment, I'm really getting a sense for this oneness of life beyond and underneath the individual human experiences that are going on. I keep being touched by what I see happening in the world at the moment, like profoundly, deeply touched. And I know that that feeling of being touched and moved by the kindness and generosity of people, when I get touched in that way, that is the oneness that lies underneath all our individual experiences showing itself. It's our true nature. And to me, that's amazing that in these times, in any times, that all of us have the capacity, the built-in capacity to be touched and moved by what we see in front of our eyes. It's just that most of us don't understand what that feeling is. It is us being touched by the one thing that lies before any of us ever come into, the idea of us ever comes into creation. It's the one thing, I say one thing, it's not a one and it's not a thing, but it's whatever it is of which we are all part. It's the softness and the loveliness of the B for Blanky video, right? Being touched by that space is what is happening every time you see something in front of your eyes that moves you at the moment. And oh my goodness, it is there for the seeing everywhere you look at the moment, if you get eyes for it. And so that's another way of talking about whatever it is that's greater than me and my tiny pea brain. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll be back with H tomorrow. So I hope you're enjoying these videos. Take care.